Ladies and gentlemen, the following podcast is set for one episode. Your host from Columbus, Ohio, is Michael Kirk. Welcome to the Outlaw Mudcast. Hello and welcome to the Outlaw Mudcast, your digital audio dirt sheet for all things Super Show. On this special episode of the Outlaw Mudcast, I am joined by the 2020 Player of the Year, the winner of the Cookies Fortune Tournament, and the current holder of the Cookies Fortune, Chris Pate. Chris Pate, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, sir.
All right, so you, of course, recently opened up Plaid Saturday by taking on Bob Dunn in the Cookies Fortune Finals. I know this was a match that went on for, I want to say, around an hour. Very
it felt
hard-fought
a lot
match.
longer than that.
You, of course, were using X-Royce, a competitor you've helped put on the map. I'd say almost single-handedly put on the map. Why did you decide to do X-Royce as your competitor in the Cookies Fortune Tournament?
Well, you see, with X-Royce, I had a year of just running it through everything. I ran it through stipulations, can only put on multiple random stip tournaments, and I ran X-Royce through, and I believe that my build only needed a couple tweaks here and there in order to be able to handle any stipulation. Only thing I was worried about was Ring of Fire, because Ring of Fire is generally a coin toss of a match. And with X-Royce's gimmick, when you lose bad with Ring of Fire. You can't bring back the knee. If you lose by more than 3, you're flipping a card, drawing a card, and burning through your deck and putting yourself on a huge timer. And putting Rejected in the deck made that matchup a little more bearable. Not by much, by a little bit, but I definitely built my deck to not really worry about stipulations, because Ring of Fire was the only stipulation that I was truly worried about losing. Everything else were just difficult to win. I had tables matches, I had ladder matches, and I just kept hitting the knee or hitting that death drop, and eventually I would just get there.
Yeah, and I'm looking through your Cookies Fortune run. I can see that you faced Todd Brooks in the opening match. Then went on to take on the Fireball, Scott Winterbauer, Impact member. Then you took on the Phoenix EV Fresh, Everett Stevens, a man who is currently in line for an Underworld Championship. Vinny Trebbing, someone who gets mentioned often for Junior Heavyweight Championship shots. The former Underworld Champion, Matt Nealon. And then, of course, a 2-time Tornado Tag Champion. And another man in line potentially for a World Heavyweight Championship shot, Bob Dunn, in the finals. So quite a challenging road to get there.
Yeah, definitely it was. All my matches were great. They were all, they were definitely not the roll of 7 on turn 3 that I had against Hold the Line Harry. They were all definitely 60-minute Broadways. EV Fresh, I think that was one of the, besides the final, one of the roughest matches. First match was a Liger's Den, which definitely makes it difficult with the hardcore running knee, and the lariats really didn't help because I just buried cards and drew off the top. I lost that one. Cage was simple, but then unfortunately it was a 3rd round match of Ring of Fire. And like I said, that's definitely a hard match. That's a match I played many, many times testing, because I knew that would be the worst matchup for me. I figured out how to tame the beast, so to say, and dice rolls were definitely in my favor, and I made it out unscathed. So, besides that one, definitely Bob Dunn. the fact that it came up the GM's choice and it was just a no DQ. Definitely, I think both of us were lucky for that because there were a lot of matches that would be more favorable to one than the other. Um, Definitely a long match would be in Bob Dunn's favor as Rex Royce eventually doesn't get a gimmick and his is still on. Submission match, I definitely have a lot better stat boosts. If they had a strike match, I don't know, that might be in my favor. There's a lot of matches out there. I definitely appreciated the chance just for us to go one and be almost unfazed by the stipulation. I didn't think either one of us were going to brave the count out. And I had a chance to look back and watch that match. And I don't think either of us made one play mistake. And definitely there were cold patches and hot patches of dice rolls for both of us. So it was really enjoyable match.
Yes, and in the end, you walk away with the Cookies fortune, the ability to essentially give yourself a shot at any championship at any point between now and I guess just under 6 months. You have a 6 month time limit to cash in. Of course, that's not the only title shot you have. I believe you've won the opportunity for a trio shot at some point.
Yep.
Is that based on your Thursday night tournament wins?
Yeah, it was my Thursday night tournament. I was the very first one to win 3 press 1 Ps with X Royce. And then they extended the title shot, so then Grump got in there and was able to cash his in for something. For me, I don't know. I got a lot on my plate as far as what I'm going to go for. Right now, I don't. I honestly, I don't really want to go after Mallory the Destroyer. I mean, she's kicking butt and taking names, so I don't think I want to stand in that path right now. I
So,
also do have a title shot. I won a Boss Roddy Chop beatdown. I don't know which number it was, but I won those with X Royce, and I have a floating title shot for that. So, I mean, besides the Cookies fortune, I gotta figure out a way to carry all these contracts in my with me here.
well, I have to ask because it's the question everyone would want me to ask. Do you know what championship you'd like to go for? Are you eyeing the World Heavyweight Championship? Are you thinking about going for the tag championship that's seemingly eluded you and Sean Loeb multiple times?
See, I'll say this:
Mm-hmm.
I do know what titles I'd like to go for, but I'm going to be strategic about it. I'm not going to go after John P. when he knows that I'm going after him and he has his deck sitting right there, right prepared for him. Maybe I'll go after him right after he goes out of a Liger's Den match where he's changed his skill cards up, where he changes skill cards up where he's not running that. He's not running his seven seals, and he has a DDT instead that's dead against me. I'm going to be smart about it. It's not going to be a cash in when it's convenient for everybody else. It's going to be when it's most advantageous for me. Or maybe I will go for the tornado or the tag team title. Maybe I'll go for that tornado title. Maybe I'm the mystery guest. We don't know. And that's the great thing about it. It wasn't a tournament for a heavyweight title shot. It's whenever I want it. And I'm really hoping that we can go back to normal and live play soon, so that 6 month time period, I'm cashing it in person, because I think that would be a lot more entertaining than popping in a Zoom room and saying, "Hey guys, I'm cashing it in." I want to hear that pop of the crowd where my entrance music hits and I'm running across the hotel lobby and cashing it in.
What is your entrance music, by the way?
I don't even know if I think it's it's for the Spider-Verse. And this is what I used for the Rumble for the which was an actually great experience where we had the Rumble at the very first Grand Gathering, and it was Who Want to Start a Riot, and I just used a little bit in the middle in the entrance, and it was perfect for that 30 seconds. So that's what I use, or whatever they can find when they do entrance music for me.
Yeah, Grand Battle was a great match at the original Grand Gathering.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
It's been a long time since we had one of those.
That's very true.
Yeah, even the one that was supposed to be at Rumble at the Rumble ended up getting canceled because of
Oh
the weather
man,
situation. So it's been
yeah. I
a
think there's.
long time since that's been.
Oh man,
in the
I
game.
believe that they are having one tomorrow night for I believe it's Championship Wrestling is having one.
Who's Championship Wrestling?
Or who's the what is the name of the online?
Oh, the CCW's WWW.
Yeah, it's
Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's the Big Guy and Moneymakers
yeah,
Online Federation. Yes.
yeah. It's so many with these letters and abbreviations. It's so hard to figure out what's what now. But no, I think they're having one, so hopefully that'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, I think it will be too. Um, since I brought up, of course, the possibility of the tag team championship. Of course, you made the, you know, I don't know if losers bracket finals, maybe second chance finals is a little kinder way to say it in the tag team tournament. I know that you really worked hard as part of Dangerous Alliance to make a finals and or at least get another shot at the championship, at the tag titles. How close is that on your mind? How focused are you on trying to get
Oh,
back?
that's the thing because for the finals we just didn't show up for the finals of the winners bracket. We just didn't show up. Our dice were cold. Um, Sean wasn't even like we had the possibility of Sean being in the room with me. We we decided that we wanted to get it done instead, and it just was the magic wasn't there that night, and we got beat. And then we ended up facing the team of um Jokerfish and Nova, and that combination is brutal. I mean, people say Combat Chris and X Royce is brutal, but at least we give you cards in your hand, So
I
it's
know
definitely something where what we can pick ourselves back up and get right back in the mix.
for the people listening who aren't familiar, I know Jokerfish is the when he rolls power, agility, or technique for his turn roll, the opponent flips a card, and then Jokerfish may bury a card. What's Nova's gimmick? What is it that makes that
Nova's
combo?
is when your opponent flips a card, they bury a card in their hand.
Oh, okay. So it's almost
So
essentially like almost on the same level as Jacques and Jokerfish.
yes, and it was extra, and it was rough for X Royce because I would get a card, but every time I gimmicked, I would flip a card, and then I would get a card, but I have to bury a card, and it was just a rough match. We were just kind of beaten up for the previous one, and Combat Chris was holding his own, but I wasn't able to make an impact or any of that line to help me out, and we just kind of got behind, and it just got rough from there. And it definitely did bring the question about if tag team competitors, or if you should only be able to select one member of the tag team for your gimmick.
Now, would you argue that it should be that way across the board then?
You know what? Here's how I don't see that being the solution. You have a lot of competitors out there that are not, I don't even want to say tier, but just popular, seen played. You know, like LED or even before they changed him, King Greatness or D3 or just competitors, Dangerous Dylan that you don't see much play in singles because the chance of it triggering and the effects aren't frequent enough and aren't powerful enough. But then you have tag team where LED is amazing in tag team. NWO rocked LED for a while. I believe they even won a tag team championship with LED. So it's definitely a powerful thing to be able to use the gimmick on both players. Now, if you do have a situation like X-Royce or, you know, Chake or Jokerfish, you can just individually go in there and say, okay, this specific one you have to choose. If you take Jokerfish and you say, okay, Jokerfish, you have to choose, or even outright ban Jokerfish, that's a big part of the combo. And which, would suck because, Jokerfish probably wants to play Jokerfish in tag team and he's really great, but you don't want to hurt the whole division because what then you'll have is you won't have a bunch of new fun tag team competitors. You'll have Gold Standard and Snake Pit versus, Belinda and I don't know, Gia. Just like you'll have a bunch of single competitors that are really good, where I kind of look at it as similar to you had the, late 90s amazing tag teams like the Hardy Boys and Dudley Boys, and then you all of a sudden cut out tag team wrestling and you have, Triple H and Stone Cold, where they're single competitors that just got mashed together because they're really, really good. And I would rather see tweaks done to the tag format than changing completely. For Combat Chris, they changed it to once a turn, and look what happened. We got there, we dominated until the finals, and it just shows you in Super Show sometimes just it's luck of the dice roll, or it's just somebody has figured out how to beat you. I mean, and that's definitely what people need to figure out. But with, Jokerfish Jockey strategy or Jokerfish Nova strategy, it's just not fun, especially if it's a newer competitor or newer tag team. Tag team is something that a lot of people love playing at conventions, and a lot of new players will play it because they just get to have fun with their buddies, and matches go a little longer than singles. And my son and myself have played new players, and they're fine with, they're like, wow, your strategy is great. You get to roll a lot. You get to draw lots of cards. That's great. But then, when, like, let's take the example of John P. playing GM Calais and playing Lionheart, and there was a submission match, and one person had had blank finishers. It just wasn't fun. And I say that Jokerfish and Nova is the same idea, where you're really not interacting. You're just waiting to lose and not trying to win.
No, I understand that concern quite a bit. When I first learned about Jacques and Jerkerfish, I realized that is an incredibly negative play experience. Tag team. It really will
Yeah.
make your opponents just have a terrible time. Because again, the strategy is you make sure your opponent just essentially can't play the game, can't have cards in their hand, can't have cards to play. So yeah, that is a wrinkle in the tag team that I think is a relatively new wrinkle. I don't remember any tag teams outside of what you talked about with the GM Calais
Yeah.
and Peter Lionheart that were built around the idea of I'm going to keep my opponent from being able to play. And even then, I don't think that is as bad as something like Jokerfish and
No, and
Jacques
the
Nova.
reason, yeah, and the reason why I do have the bad taste in my mouth about that was because of the fact that the games took so long because it was a submission match, and tag already, can take up to 3 hours. You throw a submission match in the mix, and it takes even longer.
Submission matches are very long, or at least they
Yes.
have the potential to be for sure.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. No, but and it's definitely because Jacques just recently came out, and I don't believe there hasn't been tag team tournaments since Jacques came out.
I don't recall if he came out before the tag team tournament that we're still waiting on the finals to conclude. Transatlantic Express against.
Nope, he was out for that one, but
Was
he
out for
was
that one.
not out for the previous one that Dangerous Alliance won.
Okay.
Yes, and that's right. Also a problem with the very long tag team tournaments. When the Dangerous Alliance selected our competitors, we selected our competitors based on the tag team of the previous tag team of Loudmouth playing Highwater and King Greatness, where Duff Martin at the time was the best finisher because your opponent could not bring finishers back from the discard with their submission, which great, strategy for it. Unfortunately, by the time we got our title shot, the tag championship had already changed hands, and it was against two brand new competitors who cycled their deck. So it was kind of like, well, we had a great plan, but they changed who we're fighting. So
look, I've had that happen to me too. I know what that feels like. I think a lot of players have had that happen, so we can sympathize with that. Let me go back to something you mentioned earlier before I forget. The Tornado Tag Team Championship. Are you the mystery opponent?
I am not the mystery opponent. No,
okay.
No, I'm not the mystery. I'm not the mystery opponent. I will let everybody know that right now. I would love to play Warren in a match. He is one of my favorite players to play. Win or lose, we always have a great time. I know first time I got to play him was in person, was at the Grand Gathering, and we had a great match. I think it was a Crowd Meter 3 match. I don't even know if I won or lost. It was just a wonderful time. Great guy. But no, I think they're as of right now, I think they're going down the line as far as the previous Tornado tag team tournament, as far as getting people. I don't know who the mystery opponent is for Warren. I'm excited to see, like everybody else is, because like I said, maybe I don't think I can use X-Royce for Tornado tag, but you never know. You never know.
Unless you want to make a new competitor with
X-Royce
and somebody else.
I mean, everybody wants to. I mean, if we could all make this a lot easier and just bump Dangerous Alliance to the trios, bump X-Royce to Tornado tag, and then I can just use my Cookies Fortune for Tornado tag. So if anybody wants to shell out the, thousands of dollars for that to happen, let's do it.
Well, speaking of making a competitor, back in August as part of your great 2020,
yes,
you won the BCW Create a Competitor tournament.
Yeah, I know. There is.
And so I'm going to ask you now, do you know who you're making?
I am making Ricky Riot. I am working on. So For me, I am working on the gimmick before I start doing the art. Um, just because I know that once I get the art done, they're going to want to push it. And I want to make sure that this competitor is what I bring to Steve is a little play tested at least, because I do not want to, bust out a competitor that is immediately going to be sent to the tag team, or have somebody that is going to be very linear in build where you can only build it this way. I want to kind of come up with somebody that you can do a lot of things with. I say that now, but maybe it does go down the line where it's just a competitor that's very linear. But no, it's in the works. I got some other things in the works too as well. Use some of that Player of the Year sponsorship money that I was given, and there might be a certain tag team, that Tornado tag team, that gets some finishers finally.
All right. Do you have a couple gimmicks in mind, or a gimmick that you are close? Are you testing? Are you still in the sort of thinking and planning
I'm
stage?
still I'm still testing. I love the idea of just drawing. Um, I'm definitely going to try to push and try to create a gimmick similar to X-Roy. See, I was kind of breaking it down because I was trying to think of a competitor that I wanted, like, to, it was like, okay, I have these three competitors, Theo. That the only reason I picked him up in the first place was because I am on the art of the strike finish. If it wasn't for that, I probably would have never picked him up. And then it's like I'd always play Gia and then X-Royce. For me, I like competitors that make you think. I like ones that give you options. Like X-Royce, yes, you spam the knee, yada yada yada. But like when you flip those cards, you flip those three cards, you have to figure out, what cards are in your hand, what cards are in your deck, what finishes they played. If you flip a hand turn one of a stop any for grapple, strike, and submission, you have to do a lot of, decision trees to say which one am I going to go. Because if you flip that grapple and they have the grapple finish, they go, huh, he doesn't have a stop for it. I'm just going to pound that in. Um, so there's a lot of thinking involved in that. With Gia, it's okay. I can just throw my stop just to draw this card, but doesn't really help me. There was a match in against Gia where I was behind in cards, and I was just passing and bearing just to get all the card, just to get all the cards in my hand, and I was going on a hot streak. And what I was doing was I was just biding my time because he had two cards in play. I was just waiting to lose the turnbull by three or less, and I was just gonna bum rush the opponent and take the turn. But thankfully, I was able to draw 10 cards and be able to go there. But like, I just enjoy those type of cards. I mean, with Theo, you have leg lock. Do you play the leg lock as a actual follow up and draw two cards? And if you do you draw the two cards, or do you play the finish? And it's just a lot of thinking goes into it. That's the type of competitor I want to make, where there's some thought into the gimmick, and that's not saying that, gimmicks that let you just draw a card on a technique or something, they it's not thinking goes into that. It's just, it's not my style. And this is my competitor. This is what I'm going to want to play. It's something that I would want to make a competitor that I would want to play. I mean, if people like my style, they can play it great, and if not, I'll sign them, and they can still play them if they want to.
All right. Well, that is all I have for you today. Was there anything you wanted to mention now while you have the ears of the listeners?
Not really. I just want to thank everybody. Um, as far as supporting me for Player of the Year 2020. I mean, it definitely was something where I put a lot of time and effort into it. A lot of games, a lot of dealing with X-Royce. I know they had to deal with it. Um, but I appreciate the fact that it was something where they said, "Hey, overwhelming support." I know that at the very beginning it wasn't a vote, but then it kind of slowly trickled into a vote where everybody's saying, "Hey, you know what? He's kicking butt and taking names. It might just be with X-Royce, but he's doing it." Um, and I don't know. I might be stepping on a certain Mudcast's toes here, but I did discover Hurricane's kind of fun to play. You might be seeing that in the online matches.
He's not bad.
He's not bad. He's not
He's not
bad.
bad.
I don't like that. I last night I only rolled 5s and 6s, and it's not very good when you roll 6s if you don't have a deck. But
Well, you do have that start. You do have that. Well, yeah. If you don't have a deck, they even having
you
the
don't have a
strike
deck, it
finish on
doesn't
the
matter.
discard
I'm rolling
doesn't
5s
matter.
and 6s. I'm like, I
Yep.
can't even. I just need to play a finisher. Come on.
We'll see. His 6 is agility. The opposite side of agility is grapple. It's not really that great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just.
Well,
But
thank you very much for having me on. Pleasure as always.
yep. Thank you for coming on the show, ladies and gentlemen. That was the 2020 Player of the Year and the Cookies Fortune holder, Chris Pate. And that's going to be it for this special episode. Thank you for listening, and good day.